I felt very called to make this video to just kind of share the message that you're exactly where you're supposed to be on this journey in this moment. Um, and all these messages that I feel like I want to make a video about, they're always all for me too. So it's like I'm almost making this video so that I can tell myself this. But yeah, I think that there's the approach that I take to it, which I'm going to constantly be talking about, which is just I take the more shamanic, feminine approach to healing addiction, and I think that the mainstream kind of method for porn addiction is very like masculine focused, which I think that like a blend of both is where you would find the magic. But for me personally, the feminine shamanic kind of like compassion rooted approach is really what helps me the most. And my teacher David Bedrick, who I'm in training with currently, he mentioned something with addiction, saying that like because there's such a small percentage of people who are free from their addictions, like let's say when they go to rehab or whatever the case may be, that what he's learned over the past like 30 years is that addictions kind of leave when they're ready to leave. And that is so fucking frustrating to the ego. And because of course we all just want to be done with this thing. And this is why I love this conversation, because that attitude is exactly the problem of like, it's exactly the reason why we have the addiction still, is because we just want to get rid of this addiction. And I, I think it's really exciting when we can look at it from this perspective of like your issue with porn is not isolated to pornography. It's not like if you remove the pornography, your life will be amazing. When you stop watching porn, your life gets much better and you can actually live your life. That's a different conversation. But in terms of just like, it's not the problem, it's just a symptom of a deeper problem. And yeah, I think it's like so funny how when we come at it with this like hard approach and shame ourselves, like not only does it make the porn problem worse, but yeah, you're not actually solving anything. And I just think it's really important to kind of look at it this way, because the ego will be like, fuck this, like this fucking sucks and I want to be done with this now. And the flip side, if like you can really let that kind of message just land in your body and in your soul versus your mind, it's actually so fucking loving. And that's why it's so uncomfortable, and that's why our egos like to attach to the like the method that I was just talking about, like that more masculine approach and like results driven, results oriented kind of method, is because if we really let in that level of compassion from the earth or the universe or God, like into your body as you're in this shame spiral or as you're struggling with this addiction or whatever the case may be, it's like it breaks down all the barriers that we're holding up, because often these addictions are just protecting something very sacred and precious and deep, and usually a deep pain. So the antidote to the addiction in the first place is compassion and love. So if on our journeys we're able to slowly build this tolerance and this habit of extending compassion and love to ourselves and understanding that like, honey, you're right where you're supposed to be, like nowhere else, like you're crushing it. And of course, like also taking in the masculine approach of like the things that we need to do in the discipline. But if it's without the compassion, it ain't gonna do shit, or it will get you to a certain period, but then you'll just kind of crumble again. So I'm just like realizing that so much on my journey of yeah, just understanding like the compassion that we give ourselves on this journey, that we learn to give ourselves, is that is the work itself. And that's why I think that why we have the addictions in the first place is because okay, this is a hot take, but I'm just like, you would not have this addiction if there wasn't something so fucking magical and beautiful about you that you feel unsafe to share in the world, whether that's your rage, your art, just your magic and your essence in general. And I think that because we live in a society that like fucking crushes originality and truth pretty much, and love in the pure essence of it, like having addictions and like mental fucking illnesses and stuff, to me is a sign that you're healthy. Because if you aren't a little fucking fucked up, it's like, how are you not? Like, look outside. To me, it's a deep sensitivity that not everybody has to just recognize that this world isn't necessarily safe for dreamers and for artists and for sensitive people. So, as I'm going deeper into my healing journey with this addiction and this coping mechanism, I feel like I've been hitting new layers of self compassion for myself, and like truly, like if you really were able to like see and hold your inner child and like fucking see how much they went through and how much bullshit they endured, regardless of like your level or scale of trauma, like this world is inherently kind of traumatizing, especially if you're in a society or a family that isn't like fully just healed and embraced and loving of all the things and emotionally mature. It's very rare. So if you were able to like really see your inner child and like these coping mechanisms that it adopted in order to survive, like if you were able to really fucking see that, you'd be like, holy shit, like, oh my God, like that makes so much sense. Like, and you'd be able to extend that compassion to yourself, which in turn would actually be helping your porn addiction journey. I think that, I'll speak for myself, there's a fear of like, if I really let that love in, then I'm just gonna fall back and do the thing again. So I need to be like harsh and strict with myself. But again, I think for the more sensitive people and for the dreamers and the artists and the people, let's just say outsiders in general, who don't fit into the mainstream norm, I think that the way for these people is this feminine, compassion-led way, because I think that if we're able to actually love ourselves, then all these gifts that we have to share can actually be expressed and come out. And I don't think we were here, if we've been an outsider our whole lives, I don't think that like that's going to change tomorrow. Like I think that you'll find outsider community, but I think you're here to be an outsider. And I think that like that's a difficult journey to go on throughout your life, being an outsider and not knowing why and trying to fit in. And I think that like porn is just such a fucking easy way to suppress your pain and to suppress the desires that you have for a different life and for a different world. So like wrapping this all together in some relevant cohesive thread to an extent, I think that like recognizing that you're right where you're supposed to be and giving yourself like a deep amount of love in this moment, not only like it's helpful on so many levels, but it's actually the thing that you need on your porn healing journey. Because the ways that you're hard on yourself in so many other areas of your life, and the ways that you override your inner child, and the ways that you make yourself small and all of these different things, is actually contributing to your porn addiction. So if you're able to, in this area, extend love to yourself, which is like so hard to do at times, you're kind of fucking unstoppable, and you have no choice but to let this bleed into other areas of your life, because that's what I'm realizing. Like I made it 6 months clean, and then life fucking railed me, and I fell back off the wagon And the shame just made it so much worse. And what could have been like a slip up and just like hop back on turned into like months of deep, deep, deep depression. And I was dealing with a lot of physical health things too. I was sick for like 5 weeks. It was fucking crazy. And I think that if I had more compassion in those moments, I would have been able to like see the light at the end of the tunnel a bit. But coming out of that experience, I am like, holy fucking shit. Like, compassion is the number one focus. Compassion, community, like pretty much all the things that break down shame. And that's like my MO, my whole fucking thing here is shame. That's what I'm working with. That's what I'm studying, to be a facilitator in working with shame. And shame is what created the porn addiction in the first place, or shame is at least a big part of it, and shame is certainly what drives it to this day. So if you want to not continue to use porn as a coping mechanism, like, honey, we're gonna have to address that shame. And for some people it's really embedded deep. And for myself, like, through psychedelic journeys, I've seen my shame as like this armor that's like fucking half a foot like thick, and it's metal, and it is like, it's an armor from head to toe. It's almost like my entire personality. And who I would be without this shame is almost like, what? I don't even know who I would be, because this is my safety. Like, this is just how I've learned to relate to the world. And breaking down that shame, like layer by layer, is it's actually what we're here to do. And it's like, that's why the opposite of porn addiction is life and living life. And I think that, let me tell you, there's a life on the other side of this addiction. And that's the whole point, is that I feel like we signed up on a soul level for porn addiction, at least again, the sensitive people, because it's like there's no way around it. Like, you can't escape yourself if you're on this path with porn addiction. It's like you either have to face yourself, or you're just gonna stay in hell. And my friend, you deserve to live a life that is not hell. And I'm somebody who knows those hell realms very, very closely. And there's a comfort there. It's just like, that's the trauma safety that you keep going back to soothe yourself, because like, hell was a reality at one point for you, I'm sure, whether you're consciously aware of it or not. And yeah, that is the journey in itself, is finding heaven here. And I don't think that like heaven means rainbows and butterflies. I think heaven just means meeting yourself and meeting life for what it is, versus all of the fucking programming and shame and bullshit that got tacked on to who you truly are. So yeah, if I'm continually extending compassion to myself and my journey, and I'm really inviting you to do the same. And it's actually like, there's nothing to be afraid of when we can be in that state, and not only be in that state, but be in that state together. Like, if I'm able to be like, I love myself and I love you, and you're able to do the same to me, it's like, woo, there's like a whole beautiful magic world available. And it's like, think of what the world will be like if all of us join forces in so many different ways, in whatever capacities we can. It's like, that's how we change the world. Like, that's what it is right fucking there. See, it's like exciting. It excites me, at least, because that's the truth. Like you can feel truth, just like it's a felt sense. And yeah, so I'm wanting to just love myself more and more every day, and inviting you to do the same. And again, if we can join forces in this way, I think that that's how we can really create a new world. So just extending so much compassion to you on your journey. And the more, even just a drop of compassion that you can give yourself today, is going to go a long way. Until next time.